Every film has two budgets, the one you see on screen and the one you spend before a single frame is shot. This week, I started calculating the second. I've been reading Playing to Win, and it keeps pushing one idea. Winning isn't about effort. It's about choosing the right game. In filmmaking, that means more than the story. It means structure. It means positioning. A funding strategy. Because passion alone doesn't finance the film. Strategy does. One strategy is already in motion. Stolen Dreams Redemption, Funding Legacy is one of those strategies. Screenings, audience growth, direct engagement, taking the films direct to consumers in their own homes. Let the first film build momentum for the next. It keeps control in-house. It builds long-term communities. It avoids complicated financial structures. But it's slower. And scale costs. So the question becomes, do I continue building patiently? Or do I accelerate? So now the strategy becomes layered. Option 1, fund the film independently. Through personal investments, through profits from previous films, through audience growth. What are the pros? Full control, no investor pressure, a simpler structure, lower the upfront legal costs. What are the negatives? Slower progress, personal financial exposure, limited scale, delayed production value growth. Option 2, raise investments through SEIS or EIS through an SPV structure. Pros: larger budget, faster timeline, ability to scale production, shared financial load. Some of the negatives: legal cost up front, investor expectations, reporting and governance, and reduced creativity, autonomy in some decisions. So the real question isn't just, can I raise the money? It's, do I build slowly with full control, or do I build faster with greater structure and responsibility? And more importantly, what am I willing to risk? Before I make any decisions, I needed to do a little bit more research and understand the investment option. Because if I'm doing that, I want to do it correctly, making sure that if I am asking for investment, that it's in a structured way that is centered around trust for everyone involved. And in the UK, that conversation quickly moves to SEIS and EIS. What do these mean? SEIS is the Seed Enterprise Investment Scheme, and the EIS is the Enterprise Investment Scheme. Government-backed initiatives designed to encourage people to invest in early-stage businesses. They offer tax relief to investors, which makes independent film more attractive as an investment vehicle. But access to that route, you typically need to set up a special purpose vehicle, which is an SPV. An SPV is a separate company created purely to produce one film. It isolates the risk, it protects the investors, and it formalizes the structure, which means legal incorporation, advanced assurance from HMRC, share structures, investor agreements, compliance and oversight, accounting and reporting. Before a single pound reaches the screen, you could be spending thousands on legal and financial structuring. Money spent to raise money. Money that don't appear on the screen. The invisible cost of acceleration. When it comes to planning and strategy and positioning, I'd like to think that it's something that I'm constantly improving on. So what do I mean by that? I mean, when I was doing Stolen Dreams 1, that came from a place of just wanting to write my first script outside of the assignments and the projects that I was writing as part of my degree at the time. Wanting to sharpen the skills, because storytelling has always been in me in terms of during my periods of sort of writing novels and books and things. So I was always sort of good at structure, planning. But the difference with, I guess, working on a film is there are so many moving parts. It's more of a collaborative effort. You're not just doing things by yourself. And so with Stolen Dreams 1, I was able to contain the planning because it was minimalist. 2 actors, 1 location, and a very small crew to bring the story to life. But by the time we got to redemption, I had so much experience in making the first Stolen Dreams in regards to understanding how to create a film. Obviously the story side of things is my screenwriting skills, but in terms of filmmaking, strategy beyond just what you're creating, in terms of what is the strategy to distribute, to get people to see it. So in between Stolen Dreams 1 and Stolen Dreams Redemption, it was more about learning so much more outside of screenwriting, but more around filmmaking, getting more proficient in that, organizing and bringing people together. I was able to take my time with strategy in regards to how did I want this second film to pan out. How am I going to get more eyes on it? So that's when I sat down and I started working on the strategy in regards to screenings, in regards to even when I decided before the premiere we were going to have an advanced screening and invite different organizations that work with young people to come and see the film first, so they can now become the vehicle of promoting and sharing it within their networks. And so that helped us before the premiere. So thinking about all of these things was the experience that I got from Stolen Dreams 1. Was now able to incorporate it to Redemption. And now that we're moving on to the third film, all of those skills, I really need to harness it now, because everything is going up, is leveling up from a filmmaking perspective, from a budget perspective, from a crew perspective, and also from a distribution perspective in regards to this third film should have more eyes on it also. And yeah, that's where we are right now in terms of literally sitting down, and it's constantly on my mind. I've got the story that's still being developed and still being rewritten. That's one side of things. I've got the funding side of things in terms of financing the film. That's something that's currently also being worked on, but also thinking long term in regards to once the money is accessible and we can now go ahead and make this film, what's that next step? How are we going to make sure that we can take this film to bigger heights in terms of distribution model, in terms of getting it in front of everyone that needs to see it? So yeah, that's where strategy comes into play. It's no longer just doing for doing's sake and hit and hope, because that's what the first film was about. But you have to graduate, you have to move on, you have to grow, you have to learn from what you've done before in order to be better. So that's what this journey is all about. So stay tuned. Then there's the home life, the laughter, the birthdays, the small ordinary moments. Because financial risks doesn't exist in isolation. It sits inside family life, inside responsibility. Time spent planning, evenings spent researching structures, energy spent calculating projections. All of that has impact. And when you have daughters watching you, the question changes. Is this ambition or is this instability? But here's the other side. If I roll the dice on myself and it works, then the reward isn't just financial. It's freedom, it's legacy, it's showing them what belief looks like in motion. That's the tension, risk and responsibility, dream and discipline. When I really think about it, when I stop and pause and really evaluate the choices. Inside, there's this bug that I feel like I've been bitten. The creativity bug, the need to want to create, to write, to produce, and to put things into the world. Because self-funding sounds bold. Rolling the dice on yourself, reinvesting what you've earned, trusting that your previous work will fuel the next. But that also means personal capital at risk, cash flow pressure, longer timelines. There's courage in that route. There's also exposure. And that's not something I take lightly. Right now, I'm undecided. And maybe that's what real strategy looks like. Not emotion, not impulse. Informed tension. Informed decision making. The ability to position yourself in the playing field that allows you to win. Legacy won't be funded by hope. It will be funded by decision. And this week, the weight of that decision became real. Next week, the aim is to expand the team, because whichever path I choose, independent or through investment, I need experience in that room when those decisions are being made. Someone who understands story as well as the boardroom and the finances. The search for that special person begins. See you next week.